Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jay Owens. I'm a writer. I do videos and I have a blog as well. I haven't done a YouTube video in a while. It's just the ebb and flow in life of what I'm motivated to do. And today I want to talk about racism, what it is to be racist, why are people racist, and what's the point of being racist at this day and age. Obviously, what happened to George Floyd was a tragedy. Um, and at the time that it happened, it really didn't affect me like it has now. Um, I guess the weeks of protests and riots have gotten to me, and I feel that I need to talk about it, not only for myself, but maybe some of you can get some insight onto what exactly racism is and how pointless it is to be a racist. Um, Excuse me. First off, let me say I'm not a scientist. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a politician. I have no desire to be any one of those things. I'm not a police officer. I have no desire to be that either. But what I am is a U.S. citizen that has the right to talk, and that's what I'm going to do. So racism, in my point of view, is dumb. It's useless, and it's actually old. It's gotten old. There's no point to it. Um, what is the point? Why would you waste your energy to hate on another group of people that you live in the same country with? It's ridiculous. Um, so, but unfortunately, it's a part of life, and it's what we have to deal with. Um, and it's so unfortunate that the people that we rely on to protect us, especially black people, are the ones that are killing us. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if I was to get into something right now and I need the help of the police, I would think twice about calling the police to help me do anything at this point in my life. I have 3 teenage kids, 19, 15, 13, 14. Three teenagers. I gotta wake up every day worrying about my teenage children getting killed by the police. It's not something I should have to worry about. I have to talk to them. I text them and tell them to be careful. Don't go riding. I should not have to do this. It is ridiculous. Okay? Racism is old. It's past. There's no point of it. What is the point of it? I don't see one. How am I going to be racist to a group of people just because they look different? It's ridiculous. My girl is white. Her family is white. Okay? How in the world am I going to hate on that race? It just don't make sense. I'm fed up. I'm tired of it. I'm not saying I'm finna go out there and riot, because I'm not. But if somebody invite me to a protest, I'll go. I don't have the wherewithal or the standing to create one on my own. I'm not real active in the community. But I still exist in it. And it's still a part of me, and it's affecting me. So, what is the point of racism? Why does it seem like this country cannot get past racism? And I'm going to tell you why. It comes down to the fundamental aspect of being a human being. The subconscious is the most powerful thing in the universe, in my opinion, because it doesn't need nothing to operate. It operates on its own. You didn't even know it's doing it. So, with that being said, the origins of racism can be traced all the way back to prehistoric times. Our ancestors, before Homo sapiens. The world that they lived in was traumatic. It was different. Um, if you didn't stay with your clan and your company, you would die. Um, in the early stages of pre-human existence, there were a lot of resources on the planet, of course. But the ability to gather those resources was not there. So, in order to not die, you would have to be a part of your clan and a part of your race in order to survive. Not only to get resources, but to keep your family safe from others. You know, others, back in those times, I can understand that the introductions of others into your own clan could be detrimental. I get it. I understand it. But this is 2020, and we don't need to do that anymore. There is no benefit that I can think of that you can find from being racist. From sticking to your own I don't see no advantages whatsoever. It's not needed now. And the point I'm trying to make is that it is so embedded in our basic brains because of how we evolved back then, of how we were back then. Because it was so ingrained as part of our basic mode of survival to stick with your clan and to stay with your people so you don't die, it has become a part of our evolution. As we evolved into Homo sapiens and became the humans that we are now, that instinct also evolved and grew to the point of detrimental racism. So what we need to do is we need to be the generation that de-evolves that part of the basic brain. Because it can be done. It starts at school children. It starts there. We have to teach them we're all the same. Don't notice color. Because it doesn't make a difference. And what I hope we can do is de-evolve that part of our brains that is so inherent to us. Like I hate to say this, but every single one of us have racist tendencies. It's just a fact. If you're going to sit there and say you don't, you're lying. Stop it. We all have those racist thoughts in our head. And that is because it is so ingrained as part of our makeup and our physiology. It evolved as humans evolved, and now it has become a detriment. It was a detriment hundreds of years ago. We didn't need it back then. And it's not our fault. It is not our fault that we have racist thoughts. It is done by the subconscious. But when we have those thoughts, we need to consciously be aware enough to not follow through with them, to dismiss them, to get them out of your system. Because it don't do nothing but give you stress on yourself. You think I want to walk around here scowling to let these white folks know I'm not afraid of them? I don't want to do that. My own personality, the way I look, the way I carry myself, my body language does that for me. I don't have to do nothing to walk in the room and people are instantly uncomfortable. That's my makeup. That's how I am. And I have learned to accept it and to work with it. The people that got those instant reactions towards me, that's their problem. It's not my responsibility to change the way they think. That's how they think. But as soon as those people talk to me and get to know my personality, they see that the outward me is not the way I think. And I'm not going to change my style to reflect what society wants me to do or my personality. Sorry, that's not going to happen. It is up to each one of us to look at ourselves, to change the way we think, okay? To be adults, to be humans. Who wants to live in a world where you're not accepted? Who wants to waste so much energy to not like these people? Why? For what? It's ridiculous. It's useless. It's so unfortunate that I even have to discuss this. Like most of this is for me. And if you're watching it, thank you. But this is mostly for me. For me to express the way I feel before it comes out in the middle of Walmart or something. We all have racist tendencies. We all have racial stereotypes. You know, that's just a part of us. There really isn't anything. Well, there is something we can do. We can condition ourselves not to think that way. But at this point, at my age, it's hard. It's hard. You know, you're given the family you're born into. And if your family happens to be racist, Confederate flag-bearing hypocrites, hey, look at the draw. That's what you were born into. And, you know, unfortunately, that happens a lot. But, you know, each individual, as they mature and get older, has to take it upon themselves to become productive members of society and not to be a racist idiot. But it's hard, you know, because that's how our country was built on racism. It was literally built on being racist. You know, as hard as it is to say this, slavery back then wasn't needed, but it helped us. Because everything you see was built on the back of those slaves. So that tells me that Americans themselves will not be able to build a country to what it is today. It's not the greatest country in the world. It's one of the freest. Also one of the racist. It has to start as a young child. There studies have shown that children are inherently racist. It's a combination of the home they're brought up in and a combination of the evolution of the basic brain. Many studies have shown this. You yourself can do this. You can do an in-home study, which is this. Get a small child, whatever race, small child, maybe 3 or 4. Okay, sit that child down, put a white doll in front of him and a black doll in front of him. And you ask that child questions like, which one of these dolls do you think will be the most successful in life? Or which one of these dolls do you think is the prettiest? Or which one of these dolls do you think make the more money? And I guarantee you, most of those responses will be to that white doll. And that's a 3, 4-year-old child. The basic brain, home training. It's not nothing we're doing consciously, it's subconsciously. How many times have you walked into an area full of people that did not look like you and you felt uncomfortable? You didn't choose to feel uncomfortable, you just inherently felt uncomfortable. Because those are not your clan members. Those are not people you're familiar with. And what you have to do is bust through that. You can't just fall into the trap of your thinking. Here's another example. Let's say you start a new job. You're old, you're an adult, you're 40. You start a new job. Okay, it's lunchtime. Okay, you got your food. You're walking into the cafeteria, and you see, for the most part, people are sitting in groups of their own kind. Not everyone. There'll be scatters of mixed groups here, mixed groups there, everywhere. But for the most part, you're gonna see a divided cafeteria. Whites on one side, blacks on one side. Now, depending on your race, which side are you gonna sit at? You're gonna sit at the side which is more familiar to you. That is an inherent, instinctual reaction that you can't do nothing about. But what you can do is acknowledge that reaction and say, oh, why am I feeling this way? It's ridiculous. And you just sit where you want to sit. I would do that. I I'm smart enough to know that even I would sit in the part of the cafeteria that is more comfortable to me. It is an inherent idea that we have in our heads. We can't do nothing about it. For the white folks that don't understand why black people feel so strongly about racist issues, let me try to break it down to you as best as I can. You know, we were slaves. I wasn't a slave myself, but I'm pretty sure on my father's side of the family, my grandmother was from Arkansas. So I know that her people were probably slaves. So that trauma is part of black people. Just the way that racism is a subconscious, instinctual, evolutionary aspect of our being, so is anger in black people. It evolves and it grows until it becomes a subconscious idea that we have no control over, until we consciously try to change the way we think. So there's slavery. There are institutions in this country that have set black people up to fail. Okay. Educational inequality. Lord. The No Child Left Behind Act is actually a detriment because it gives black kids a free ride. And when they graduate, they only have the skills to work at McDonald's. And that's set up by the government. And when they get into McDonald's, what they're making? Minimum wage. For this state in particular, a ridiculously low minimum wage. Authority, government, is another thing that systematically holds black people down. That dude that killed George Floyd had 16 citations for police harassment. 16! But he was still a police. Let me go to my job and do 16 things wrong, they're gonna fire my ass. But not the police. Not the police. It's ridiculous the way things are set up in this country for us to fail. Back on government, there are some Senate, I don't know if it's the Senate, the House of Representatives, Supreme Court judges, but one of those group of people, when they get appointed, they're there for life. Life. Which means nothing gonna change that they put in place until they die. So you got government, workplace, education, society. That should be obvious. I'm not gonna go into that because you see it everywhere. It is a systematic oppression that reaches every level of government, education, and the workforce. All of those things would need to be completely overhauled for racism to disappear in America. Do you see that happening? Because I don't. It is too much that needs to be changed. Too much. And it's from the bottom up needs to be changed, or should I say, from the top down, it needs to be changed, because the way that our country works was built by the leaders of the country. Not by the citizens, by the leaders. Like, the black people that are fed up in those cities, they don't know what else to do. Oh, here's another thing. Voting. If you're a felon in the United States of America, you can't vote. How many felons are there in this country? What color are most of the felons? I'm 42 years old and I can't vote. I made a terrible decision as a teenager. Now I'm 42 and I can't vote. So you tell me what the system is doing. That shows you. Millions of Americans are felons and cannot vote. I can't even leave the country if I wanted to. Just an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. I hope we can grow, but it's going to take generations to change America. It's going to take generation after generation after generation. I want to see the change. You think these riots and these protests are going to change anything? People rioted before. People protest all the time. But these black folks still getting killed by these white cops. Why in the world do you think it's going to change now? Because I don't see it happening. Unless the world leaders, I'm talking about presidents, queens, princesses, corporate leaders, okay? Mayors, governors, everybody. They have to do it at once. And I don't see that happening very quickly. It's going to take generations for things to change. As long as it took for the racism to be put in place, it's going to take that long for it to be out of place. So what you looking at? 400 years? Black people, they're getting tired, retired. They don't know what else to do. But at the same time, you can't go out there and say, I hate white people. Let me go destroy this black business. That don't make sense. It just feeds into their narrative. What are black stereotypes? We're violent, we're poor, we're uneducated, and we have no morals. And the rioting just feeds into that and proves them right. I'm saying all this because it does not make any sense to be racist. It is illogical. Most of the protests you see on TV are put forth by generations after me. It's young people. See a lot of young white people stepping up to the plate, and it's promising. It makes me feel good. But it's the younger generations that are doing it. Because they are realizing that racism is stupid. It's a waste of energy. It's an illogical way to live. That only results in stress for yourself because you hate everybody. All right? And creates fear in us as black folks to trust the people that we need to protect us. I just hope I live to see the changes, or at least live to see the changes starting to happen, because it's not going to happen quickly. It's up to all of us. A lot of people saying that voting is the way to do it, but I can't do that. So America has set us up to be oppressed. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. For you to sit here and deny it is ridiculous. All right, y'all, I just had to get that off my chest because, I don't want to wake up to my own children being killed by police. Because if that was to happen, I don't know what my reaction would be. I could guarantee you it would not be good. So, thank you for watching this video. It's 25 minutes long. I apologize. But I had a lot to talk about, and, the state of this country is not is not well. We're a sick country, and I hope I live to see it recover. Thank you for watching my video. I'll try to start posting videos more often. Just take care of yourself and your family and try to be all inclusive.